of dealing with people in the course of my work as a teacher. I've been a debate coach for a while. So I've dealt with teams and how two teams clash with each other on different viewpoints and all those subjects where human beings come into a clash and how to resolve that really fascinates me. And societies, how they judge each other, they have their stereotypes, their prejudices, and based on their internal frame of reference, they kind of superimpose or project it outside of them. Those are the things I'd like to really deal with. There are two kinds of behaviors actually. We see there is a certain socially observable behavior and there's an internal dynamic within us. How we view our window to the world, how the world treats us, whether people are nice to us, whether they accept us, that kind of thing. Now, what is the purpose of this program that I'm going to do with you today? It is to challenge you, support you, bring you out of your shell and give you some definite tools and techniques to empower you in a way that you can deal with your daily situations or maybe start looking at things from a different mindset, a different frame of reference. That is my purpose today. I would like to take you through a video which might exemplify what I'm trying to tell you right now.
People are complicated. Have you seen my watch? What time is it?
Why do you always blame me for everything? Why don't you keep your things in their proper place?
Sorry I'm late.
I'm so upset. I just don't know what to do about Bill. He doesn't seem to be listening to me anymore. He's always running out on me. Please pick up the phone on line 3.
It's very difficult to understand why people behave the way they do.
Why don't you sit him down and have a serious talk? Yes, I've tried, but he still won't sit still. Did you hear about his wife?
Really do get problems. Wait till you hear mine.
Oh, you probably have cabin fever. Why don't you just take a vacation from each other? Yes, but we can't afford it.
Do you have a copy of the report? What time is it? You too cheap to buy a watch?
Well, why don't you just get a divorce? Yes, but what about the kids? Please pick up the phone on line 3. Why me? Why always me? Isn't there anybody else in this department who can answer the phone?
Sometimes our own behavior puzzles us.
Always blame me for everything.
We dismiss our puzzling behavioral patterns with, "That's the way I am. There's nothing I can do about it." But if we look closely within us, we'll find a logical explanation for most of the things we say
Why
and
always
do.
blame me for everything?
Never talk with food in your mouth. Birds of a feather flock together.
Are you okay? Helps us in that quest. Are you okay uses the time-tested techniques of transactional analysis to demonstrate that people can change. Are You Okay uses clear and crisp graphics, simple, jargon-free language, and easy-to-understand examples to illustrate how we can analyze our own behavior to act more rationally and positively. If you think you know the answer, why don't you do Transactional analysis actually works. Transactional analysis has changed the lives of millions. If you're a teacher, a manager, a wife, a husband, or anybody who interacts with people in their day-to-day life, Are You Okay can benefit you.
Anything familiar? Does that ring? Only one person? Oh my God, 11 people are already, I think they already know a lot about relationship management. Anyway, I'll begin by telling you some of the definitions and the basic concepts involved in a topic of this kind. The main frame of reference that I've taken is the Kaufman drama triangle. Stephen Kaufman was a social psychologist who developed this theory of the drama triangle, which has 3 corners, each corner being occupied by victim, rescuer, and persecutor. I'd like to show you PPT for that. The basic concept of the drama triangle is the relationship between responsibility and power. It was conceived by Stephen Kaufman, and he talked about he actually based it on transactional analysis, and he based it on the theory of Eric Berne, who spoke about scripts and games. As we are growing up and the environments we come from, we develop our own internal script about who we are and how the world views us, how we view the world. And that script keeps playing. It plays in families, it plays in neighborhoods, it plays in communities, it plays in cultures. Now, there are three people there. Rescuer, who is always willing to take up responsibility for others, who feels others are not empowered. I have to go and save them. The knight in shining armor syndrome, one could call it. Then there's a victim who's always vulnerable. Oh, poor me, nobody likes me, I can't do anything, I need help all the time. So that can be a con sometimes. That person might be trying to take undue advantage of you. Then there's the position of the persecutor, who looks very, very powerful and aggressive, and who tends to be the cause of problems for the victim. And with reference to the persecutor, the victim always needs the rescuer's help. So it's a kind of vicious circle. You keep moving from one pole to the other without actually finding a solution for that. Now we can also look at it through this OK Quarrel by Eric Berne. And if you can see, all of you can look at this chart here. There are 4 quadrants to this chart. There is this: I'm not okay, you are okay. I'm not in a good position, you are in a better position. I am not okay, you are okay. So I'm the victim. Then there's a rescuer. This victim is trying to con or find a rescuer and hook up with the rescuer to save himself from the persecutor. That is the dynamic. Okay, so the victim may really not be a victim, but somebody who's just trying to get undue advantage. Then there's the persecutor who says, I'm okay, you are not okay. That is, you are the cause of all the problems, the fault-finding person, like yesterday Vinesh was talking about, who just needs to find fault with everybody and everything. I'm always right, you are not. Okay, so the way to jump out of this game is to not play the game. I am okay, you are okay. That is the way to actually jump out of this game. Now, I have an activity sheet here where I want you to kind of plot this kind of activity as it happens. Drama triangle play out on the political scenario as well.
First we have to do?
Only one. The rest will come later. The first one. You can just quickly plot your triangles. Any 2, 3, whatever. There is Sheila Dikshit, there is Arvind Kejriwal, there is the BJP, there are the voters. So where do they kind of fit in, and how do the roles switch and move between rescuer, persecutor and victim?
Same, like the victim is the voter,
Okay.
the rescuer is AAP because they want the elections to be redone again, and the BJP is the persecutor.
Is it something like that? Yeah. Yes, Sonal?
No,
I will take on it.
Yeah. I think the voters are the victims,
Yeah.
and the rescuer is BJP, and the persecutor is AAP.
Okay. So we have different ways. Again, as I said, human interactions are vast and dynamic. So all of us sitting in the room will have a different take on it. Now, let me tell you, all of us have grown up. We were teenagers at one time. In my own family, when I was growing up, my father always seemed like a persecutor. I think that's a familiar scenario. All of us. And my mother seemed like the victim to me. And I would constantly be rescuing her, and my father used to call me my mother's ADC, and I thought he was all wrong. When I was 20, 22, I started realizing that my mother was always conning me and conning him, and actually she was not really the victim. My father, was victim in certain roles, but since he would be the louder of the two, I tended to think of him as a persecutor. He was a wonderful person. So that's how we start looking at people, through that prism of this triangle. Now, how do you empower yourself? How do you get out of this dynamic? Now, there's this social psychologist again, David Emerald. He brought out the empowerment dynamic. He thought, there must be a way out. How can people just be stuck in this rescue persecutor victim? Let's find, something different about it. So could you turn the page to the next sheet, please? Yeah, the third one, the third sheet. There is David Emerald's empowerment dynamic triangle that provides an alternative. Isn't it? That you don't have to be stuck in that triangle always. He has thought of trying to make it positive. Like you have those two triangles there. If you can just all refer to that, there is a positive triangle on top and there is a negative at the bottom. Isn't it? So we can invert our triangle in our lives and we can change our situations by inverting the perspective with which we look at the problem. Okay, so you can make it, the persecutor becomes a kind of challenger, isn't it? You need a mentor or a coach, he's the rescuer, and you yourself are the creator of new things or the achiever. That is very, very relevant to the kind of program we are doing, since some of you are trainers or would be trainers. This is really a powerful tool that you can use in the course of your work. Now, I need to tell you how my father made me empowered. When I was a child, I lived for a while in a country called Algeria, that is on the coast of the Mediterranean, and it was a former French colony, and the children were really rough. There were Berbers, mixtures of Arabic and French and the Berbers. So we were little kids, like I would say 5-6 years old, my elder brother was 8 or 9, so we faced a lot of bullying in the neighborhood. So the children used to come stand outside our door and say some things to us in their language. It was French and Arabic. And even though we didn't understand, somehow from their body language used to make out the expletives. So we went to our father, what to do? These people are bullying us and calling us names. My father, he started telling us, he knew French and Arabic and all, he started telling us those bad words in those languages. And my mother thought, oh my God, what words are you teaching those kids? So we used to go with the word, and my father was not judgmental at all. Abba, what is this word? What do I call him? What word should I use in this language? He would tell us. We used to go from the window and yell at those children. Within a week, those children became our friends. That is a kind of empowerment dynamic, which really horrified my mother, because she thought her children are learning bad language and the father is not bothered about it. In fact, he's happily coaching them to use bad words in different languages.
So you went on from
victim
mode to
to take control of the situation. Now, if you can look at the second sheet, the role play sheet, this dynamic, as I was talking about, the triangle of rescuer, persecutor, victim, it applies well to literature as well. I'm sure all of you have read the Cinderella story as a child. Now, I have added a twist to it. It's the reverse Cinderella story. So you have the main character, Cinderella, is the classic victim, poor, tortured by the stepmother, by the stepsisters, and waiting to be rescued, and the fairy godmother is there, okay, do whatever for her, help her out all the time, and she's in rags and always doing all the chores in the house. I've added a twist. She's really not the victim. Actually, she's the persecutor who always acts like a victim. And here Lavinia, the stepsister, is in love with the prince and she's about to marry the prince. When this Cinderella, she cons the prince into thinking, oh poor me, and he ends up rescuing her and marrying her. Okay, so for that also, there's if you look at the sheet, I have made a concept map there. Who's the persecutor and rescuer. It's a classic role play condition, which I don't think we'll be able to do for lack of time here. But I'd like you to go through it and kind of familiarize yourself with it. And if you have any questions on that, you can ask me at the end of the session. So what happens here, how the roles are switching. Initially, Cinderella seems, when we enter the story, Cinderella seems like a victim. Lavinia is ordering her to do things. The prince sees and he witnesses and he thinks, oh, Lavinia is bad. Actually, Cinderella is the poor thing waiting to be rescued. He ends up marrying her. Who are the classic rescuers? The fairy godmother and the prince. And ultimately, who becomes the victim? The prince. He's conned into marrying Cinderella, who's no good. Okay. So, what we are trying to say here is that the change in perspective will change your attitude. Now, if you turn to the last sheet, it is an assessment and follow-up sheet which you can carry away from here. There are certain questions which can help you in self-evaluation and understanding your behavior. You should always keep it as a frame of reference, the last sheet. You're not supposed to do that activity. You're supposed to just keep it whenever you can keep going back to it. And it will help you understand your behavior and analyze it better. I hope all of you have enjoyed and understood the session and would use it maybe in your future training sessions, or at least start looking at life in a different way through this session. Thank you.
Thank you.